Hello! I am the Witch of Jasmine and welcome back to my channel! Today I have a special little video for us. It's actually something I did a while ago, but I've been really meaning to update this. So we're going to talk about how my readings work. What am I doing here, you know? I'm also going to try to not keep this very long because this is something I can drone on and on and on about, but I'm going to really try not to. But I also at the same time just feel like if you guys can understand how this all works and what we're doing here, it only helps you connect with the readings more. Hi, I just wanted to pop in and say this ended up taking me way longer than I thought it would. I just have so many things to say and so many things to talk about and I get excited. So yeah, this is definitely quite long. You guys already knew that. But anyway, so if you want to skip around and just kind of get to whatever it is you're curious about, go down in my description. There's timestamps there. Just click on the parts that you're interested in, or of course you can watch the whole thing. I have lots of things to say here. But yeah, please go do that if you don't want to sit here for however long this ends up being. Let's start with, I'll show you where I keep my cards. So actually, this is like a little, I don't know what you call it. It's a piece of furniture that's like has this top, but it also has a little shelf underneath. I don't know if you can tell at all, but anyway, so I keep all my stuff here, including my cards. I keep them in this little magical looking box. See? I just like keeping them all together. I definitely still have the boxes that they came in, but for convenience purposes, I keep them in here. So before every reading, that's the first thing I do. It's also a way of kind of just being mindful with the cards by and grounding myself enough so that I'm ready to do a reading. I don't want my head to be all jumbled up. That would make it a lot more difficult. I just kind of sit and get prepared with everything. I don't know if you can hear in the background. Cheralyn's here. She's my cat. Or not technically my cat, but a cat that I live with, who's a good friend of mine. She has become my executive producer. She is always here. Like literally, I was getting ready to film today, and I had the door closed because I was just doing some stuff, and she's banging on the door like, no, let me in. I have to help. I want to do this with you. So anyway, the gray cat, Cheralyn, she's here now. Okay, so, all right, so then when I sit down to do a reading, put these two cards aside. We start with the Oracle card. That is, oops, it's upside down. These cards. This is, oh, I probably should have brought out the boxes, but I have the books here. This is the Green Witch Oracle. Absolutely love this Oracle deck. It is so cute and so pretty. Oh, well, I guess I should go ahead and explain, how do I pick the cards? That's something I really breeze over. A lot of times I kind of, I think it might be difficult to understand what I'm doing. So basically, when I first started learning how to do tarot, which was fall 2021. So, it was only like 2 years ago. 2 years ago when I first started learning how to do tarot, I learned to pick the cards completely intuitively. So how I would do it is I would usually start by picking, putting them into two piles, and then I would kind of go back and forth, and then I would kind of just feel more drawn to this one, so then I put that aside, and then I would go like this, and then I would go back and forth, and then I'd be more drawn to this one. So then once I was down to just a few cards, then I would kind of fan them out and then go like this. And then just whichever one just feels right. I don't know how to explain it. that's the one I would pick. And then put them all back and do it again. I'm trying to like really breeze through this because this is kind of a big topic. And if you guys want me to do a video that goes more in depth with how to pick cards, I would be absolutely happy to do that. But I'm just trying to give you a general idea right now. So I say all that to explain that for me, most of my card picking is just completely intuitive. That's why you'll sometimes see when I'm like shuffling, I'll kind of just sometimes like randomly pick one because it's just all intuitive. Keep in mind, and I should have said this at the beginning, everybody does it differently. There really is no wrong way to pick cards. You do whatever just feels right, you know? So that's how I like to do it. When I started doing YouTube, it felt like the best way to go would be, well, I had to learn how to shuffle when I started doing YouTube, to shuffle out the cards. It makes the process go by a little easier when you shuffle the cards. And it does just kind of add a nice energy to them as well. But that way, like, I don't know, if I was feeling drawn to that one, boom, it's right there instead of having to go through this whole picking process. Plus, I think it's nicer when the viewer can kind of see, like if one just randomly drops, it's like, oh, that's clearly the one, not just like, I'm picking this one because I feel like it. I just feel like it's a nicer viewing experience while still keeping the integrity of it, you know? So anyway, let's say we're doing a practice reading here, a demonstration. So we'll say that's our oracle card for today. Moving on to this one. This is the Everyday Witch Tarot. Absolutely love this deck. I absolutely love all three of them. I could not recommend them more, honestly. Yeah, so then we do the same sort of process. Oh, that was my bad. Okay, hold on. Sometimes when stuff like that happens, it's purely just accident. It's purely just because I did it wrong. And I usually let you know. Like sometimes if I'm shuffling and then like all of a sudden like I accidentally drop that, it's just because I accidentally dropped it. Sometimes it feels more like, oh yeah, that means I need to pick them. And sometimes it's just, no, that was just user error. And I will like usually say that. So anyway, just kind of pick. There we go. I don't know. This is just practice. And then we get into the last deck. Just whatever. Here, 1, 2, 3. Another just like personal thing that I personally like to do. I like to use reversals in my readings. I always have since the beginning. Probably never going to stop using reversals. And I really have no problem with people not using it. Again, I mean, when it comes to tarot, like for all intents and purposes, there's no wrong way to, I mean, even if you don't use reversals, you still have like, I always forget how many cards are in tarot. It's either like 76 or 78 or something. You still have over 70 cards to work with, you know, and especially when you consider all the spreads and, you know, different decks, like you can certainly get all of the meanings that you need to with just it being upright. That's totally fine. For me though, I still can't help but feel like I'm missing out if I only do uprights. So that's just me. Again, if you're interested in learning tarot, do whatever you like, man. It's all right. So, but I always use reversals all the time, except for the oracle cards. Oracle cards, I try to keep them all upright. Oh, and the other thing, yes, I forgot. The other thing I was going to say too is with my readings, I always do them all in one take. I very, very rarely re-record a reading. There has to be like some sort of, reason why. Usually, I think the only time I've ever re-recorded a reading or stopped halfway through was just because I wasn't feeling it. If you want a video where I just really go in depth and talk about my process, I'm so willing to do that, but trying not to do that too much in this video. Anyway, no, a lot of times with readings, you can look at them and like at first glance be like, wait, what? What is this? Why is this card here? What is going on? This makes no sense. But as you dive into it more and more, a few minutes in, then you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. But sometimes you look at the cards and you try to figure them out, and you've been sitting there for like 15 minutes. That's Halen. And it just still makes no sense, or it just doesn't feel good. That usually means that you're just not, or I'm just not in a good headspace to be doing readings at that time. It's like if you just, lost your job and then immediately went home and did a tarot reading about it, you're probably not in the best headspace to do it because you're frazzled. You're not feeling very grounded. You need to be in the right headspace in order to be able to do it well. So like if you wait a few hours and calm down or do it the next day, then that'll be much better. That's what I'm talking about. So sometimes I'll look at these and I'll be like, yeah, no, I gotta redo this. This doesn't feel right. So that very rarely happens. I really, especially just for the sake of all of this feeling authentic, I do really try to not add in a lot of jump cuts. I try to do it all in one take, but also I'm human. I do my best, but at the same time, I do have to cut out a lot of like long thinking pauses, and my allergies have been really bad, so dealing with that. Y'all don't want to hear that. But anyway, so the meat of this, the main thing I want to talk to you guys about with this is how my spread works. So let's go ahead and just flip these all over. Again, this is just purely a example. This is not meant for anybody. There's no intention behind this. My spread is split up into 3 main parts. There's the oracle card, there's the top, and then there's the bottom. The oracle card is the main message. I usually say this too. It's the main message, the main vibe, the main takeaway from this, right? So like here with this purification card, I always show you up close. We do have, these cards always come with a zodiac sign and then a elemental sign. So this one is air. You can see on the back here, there's, sometimes I have to look these up. That's air. So I think that's air, fire, water, earth, I think. I'm pretty sure. That one's definitely air though. So again, it doesn't mean it's made for Geminis or made for air signs. It's not that at all. It's just the general energy of it, right? Like we're, carrying in some Gemini and air energy with this. Again, like I always say, with this being the main theme, I always say, if this stuff just kind of feels complicated or you're having a hard time really pinning down what it's referring to, or you don't quite know what to do with it, or it just feels more like a future thing, not really a present thing, I always say this is like the main thing to take away. If nothing else, take away that, So for example, with this reading, the main takeaway would be the message that card has, which in this case is you have all of the things you need at your disposal right now to move forward with whatever this is. So trust that you have everything you need. Trust that the universe has provided you everything that you need. Let things happen. That kind of thing. Which of course also can be very general. That's why we also need all of this, but you know what I mean? So as far as all of this goes, we have this top part and this bottom part. This top part represents things in the physical, the material world, our reality. And this bottom part represents your inside, how you're feeling. So for example, if we look here, and these, each of these lines up with each other. So these two are related, these two are related, these two are related. So for example, we have Page of Wands above Five of Chalices, aka Five of Cups. That might mean that like in reality, in the physical, things are Page of Wands, right? Maybe you're starting something new, or you have a new outlook on something, or you've hit a new milestone, whatever it is. So like even though that's happening in your reality, in the physical, in the material, you might be feeling this Five of Cups at the same time. You feel like you've lost something, right? So I would say, like if I was doing a reading for somebody and they were starting a new career, right? That maybe like they have this opportunity, they have this path to go down, but even though they do have that going for them, at the same time, they're feeling like they missed out. They're feeling like, they're grieving their old career that they thought they were going to do, or something like that. Because that's what Five of Cups is about, that loss. The other thing I want to mention with my spread is how a lot of times it can be chronological, right? It's like we're telling a story here. So it'll be this thing that happens, then this thing, then this thing. That's only sometimes the case. I actually would say that is mostly the case, but not always. That's kind of just a feeling thing. Just if I feel like it is. But I'll always tell you if it is or if it's not. Probably not if it's not, but if it is, I'll let you know. And I guess I should mention too, when we have bonus cards as well. Sometimes I feel the need to draw a bonus card, sometimes I don't. I usually just go ahead and draw from this deck, because I feel like this one's like my main deck, and these ones are a little more supplementary. Also kind of just depends on the situation. But like, for example, maybe I felt the need to, especially because this is online and I can't directly communicate with anyone while I'm doing this, I might need to ask like, what is this loss? Why are we feeling this loss? So then I'll ask the question and then card comes up. So sometimes it will be for that reason. Sometimes it will be to clarify what it is, that's going on. Like Judgment is like towards the end of something. So maybe I'll ask like, what is this end thing? And then Five of Pentacles. So, you're at the end of being in this phase. So once we get to that world stage and move on, you'll be out of this, So kind of depends. But sometimes I draw a bonus card just because I feel it. Because I feel like I need to. Or sometimes my readings can be... Sometimes they're very complex, but sometimes they're very straightforward. Sometimes I can say everything I need to say about this in like 5 minutes. It depends on the reading. They're not all the same like that. They can really differ. That's why a lot of them have different time lengths. I mean, last week I put out a Leo moon reading, which was about 20 minutes. It was 19 something minutes. And this week I put out a Libra moon reading, and that was like 10 minutes, It's not necessarily about one having more information in it. Not necessarily. It's more just like sometimes they're more complex. I don't know a better word to use than that. Some of these are just a lot easier for me to read. Some of them are a lot more challenging. But to me, that's just the fun of tarot, There is one last thing I want to touch on with this reading because I've gotten some questions about it. And that's just generally, how do general readings work, right? What is the difference between a general reading and a private, one-on-one reading? But I have a feeling I might drone on about this. So let me move this stuff over. I'll give you, not drone on about this, but talk and talk and talk. So here, I'll go ahead and just do a little flip through of these so you can have something to look at while I talk. So with general readings, and the bread and butter of my channel is just, the moon readings, which I try to do once a month for each sign. As the name suggests, they're very general. That's why when I do them, they could be about several different things, right? They could be about career. They could be about your relationships. They could be about anything really. But we're going off of energy, not situations. I say that a lot when I'm explaining tarot. So, for example, with this Eight of Wands, right? Eight of Wands is very quick, rapid progress, rapid, quick energy. So this is not necessarily a situation. It's just, it can describe a situation, right? So this could come up, of course, in any reading. If you're looking for a job, trying to get hired somewhere, this could be a sign that it's going quickly, progressing quickly. You're going to find something pretty quickly, or at least you're going to be running through a lot of different interviews very quickly or something like that. If we're talking about a relationship, that means things moving very quickly, right? Maybe going from just dating to engaged to married, whatever, to moving in, whatever, all very quickly. That's what we're talking about here. So is it true that 1/12 of the world is going through the same thing at once? No, I don't think so. Not necessarily. But it's one of those things that I really don't know how to describe. I can picture it in my head and understand it, but I have a hard time describing it and articulating it. But essentially the way that I see it is asking the moon or whatever, what's a general reading that I can give to Leo moons right now? For all the Leo moons out there, what's something that would help them right now? What's a message that I can give to them? And that's usually what I say with my readings is, let's see what the moon has for you, because that's just the way I see it in my head. And what do you know? It tends to work. I am very happy when I'm told that a reading really helped somebody. Can I explain exactly why? No, but it's just one of those things. I do witchcraft. That's what I'm used to, I can't for sure completely explain why it works. It just does. For the most part. Again, though, they are general. So can I promise that it'll fit perfectly for every single person? No, unfortunately. That's where, you using your own intuition really helps. And of course, the whole reason I'm doing this video, knowing how it all works also really, really helps. So I hope that makes sense. But I do have to stress that a general reading is very different from a personal one-on-one reading. One big giant difference is that I'm sitting alone in a room with my cat, I can't ask you questions. I can't get clarification about something. I have to just go based on what the cards say and just my own intuition. Because that happens sometimes where I don't know. And I usually say it too, something just pops into my head, like a phrase or an idea. That's my intuition talking. Or sometimes a card will just feel a certain way. I don't know. Like maybe this Knight of Swords comes up and I just feel like it's specifically about travel. Even though Knight of Swords isn't necessarily like that, I just kind of feel like in this particular context, it's a sign of moving on to something. I don't know. That kind of stuff just happens. Of course, the other thing with these readings is that if I'm doing a general reading, the advice I give is going to be pretty general. I mean, I try to like have it be good advice and, let it be as helpful as possible. But also, I always say that I never make promises on here. I feel more comfortable doing that with private readings, but I can't, if I'm, for example, doing a general reading about a relationship, I can't promise everybody, like, oh yeah, this should work out, you'll be good. Or, yeah, this is over, you can walk away now. It just, that kind of thing doesn't feel right with a general reading. It makes more sense to be like, well, I don't know what the outcome will be, but this is, I would suggest doing this in the meantime, or in order to figure out what it is that you want to, how you want to go about this. Does that make sense? Because obviously I wouldn't do these readings if they were helpful. I mean, do I say this? I'm like, do I really want to say this? I'm going to say it. I don't want to sound shady or anything, but if we're being honest here, in the internet space, there are lots of people who claim to be tarot readers who I do not think have good intentions. And a lot of what they do is a lot of stuff that I don't do, and that's very much on purpose because I don't know if they're really legitimate and have good intentions. And everything I do on here is to help others, at least do my best. So no, I'll never be telling you that this weekend your ex is gonna text you back or yeah, that person that did that awful thing to you, they are for sure gonna come back and ask for your forgiveness. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm never gonna do that. I'm here to tell you what the cards are telling me, to give you some helpful advice, to not make any promises that I'm not 100% sure about, or at least feel comfortable giving you, just so that you enjoy the video and give me a like, And believe me, I do not like, not that I don't like it, but it's not super fun giving readings that are a little more negative and more challenging. But obviously that's what you want, If I'm telling you that there's probably an issue coming up, it's not fun to tell you, but that's what's most helpful. That's how you can see it coming and prepare, Things like that. Because I call it Pinterest quote tarot, where, I want to make sure that I give you like actionable steps, give you like something you can really take away from, or take, how do you say that? Take away from this, and is actually helpful, not just like, oh, hi Helen. Yeah, you're starting something new and I think it's gonna go well. Yay, thanks, bye. Like, no, like we need more than that, but also at the same time, never want to overpromise. And I call it Pinterest quote tarot because it's something you might as well just go on Pinterest and hear nice things, That's not what tarot's for. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I could keep talking and talking and talking, but I think that's like the main gist of it all. I think that gives you a good overview of all this stuff. Of course, like I say with all my readings, if you have any questions, let me know. Obviously this is something I love. It's my passion. So I could sit here and talk about it all day. I could talk about it forever. But I'm also just trying to give you the important stuff in this video. If there is anything you guys are interested in having me expand upon, let me know. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for sticking around and supporting. As of me recording this, we are just about to hit 300 subscribers, which is so exciting. And when we do, I will have, which I think is going to happen the next few days. I don't know, we'll see. But I will have a video going up talking about a free 30-minute Zoom tarot giveaway. So if you're interested in that, make sure you are subscribed. It is open to subscribers only. But yeah, I did one for 100 subscribers and then another for 200. So I'll do another for 300. Yeah, I plan on just doing these little giveaways every 100 subscribers. So even if you don't get it at one point, chances are you can just enter again pretty soon. So yeah, but I mean, that's my way of thanking you guys so much for being here. I feel like I can't thank you enough. I absolutely love doing this. I'm so happy that I'm in a place in my life where I can dedicate a lot of time to this. And with your support, I can just continue. I mean, I would love to get to a place where I could post every single day. I just can't do that right now. But with all of your support, one day, I believe I can get there. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Sorry this was super long. I really was going to try to keep it under 20 minutes. That did not happen. So if you have any further questions, of course, let me know. I'm so happy to talk about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye!